أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب أليم. قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. وجاء من أقصى المدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون. أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغن عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون. إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين. إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون. قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين. صدق الله العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala sent 3 prophets to the coastal town of Antioch to invite the people to the oneness of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and to guide the people to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. The 3 prophets were, according to a narration of Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, one was Sadiq, one was Masduq, and the other one was Shadoom. These were the 3 prophets that Almighty Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala sent to the coastal town of Antioch. When they first entered the town, they came across a person who was worshipping idols. His name was Habib and he was a carpenter. So the Prophet of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala corrected him that he cannot worship the idols. They do not cause any benefit, they cannot cause any harm, and they invited him to bring faith and iman on Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So Habib the carpenter told to the prophets that, do you all have any sign that you all are indeed the prophets of Allah? I have leprosy, I've got a skin disease. Is there any way that the Allah that you are inviting me towards could cure me? So 2 prophets of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala told to him that we will make dua to Allah, and Allah is the one that makes things happen. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is Shafi. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is the one that gives cure. So Habib told to the prophets, 70 years I'm worshipping this idol. This idol cannot do anything. Way overnight your Allah is going to cure me. The 2 prophets of Allah make dua to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and these prophets put their hands over Habib the carpenter, and with the fadl, with the grace of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, this carpenter who had skin disease, leprosy, he was immediately cured. This increased his faith, his yaqeen, in conviction in the Allah that these two prophets were inviting towards. He brought faith in Almighty Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And then these prophets of Allah, they go on further into another place of Antioch and invite the people towards oneness of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. The people of that area immediately rebelled. They went against the prophets of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. They started causing pain, inconvenience, difficulties, oppression and persecution to the prophets of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. When Habib the carpenter, who had accepted Deen and Islam, he heard about this, he immediately comes to his people. He was from the same nation, he understood the mentality of the people, and he knew that these prophets of Allah, they have sincerity in them. They have no materialistic gain, they have no agenda. Their only agenda is to take the people away from the worship of people to the worship of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. He knew that these prophets of Allah wish well for them. So he immediately came up to the people and he told to them, I am from you, we are from the same nation, I was also a victim of worshipping idols. And it is with the effort of these prophets that I moved away from worshipping idols and I brought faith in the oneness of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. The people were upset with him, they oppressed him, they persecuted him, they killed him, and Habib the carpenter became shaheed. He became a martyr in the cause of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So Almighty Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala speaks about the attitude of the people of Antioch. They even told to the two prophets that you people are a curse to us. Either because there was a drought, and wherever there is some good person in a community, in the locality, people do not understand, they attribute the bad to the good person. Or because they started inviting the people towards the oneness of Allah, there was a disunity in the town and the community. So the people started attributing that disunity to the Prophet of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and said to them that قَالُوا إِنَّا تَطَيَّرْنَا بِكُمْ. The people of the town, they told the Prophet of Allah, there is drought here because you people are here. There is disunity in the town because you people are here. We take a bad omen through you. لَإِن لَمْ تَنْتَهُوا لَنَرْجُمَنَّكُمْ وَلَيَمَسَّنَّكُمْ مِنَّا عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. If you are not going to desist from this invite of yours, inviting the people towards your Allah, turning the people away from idol worshipping, then we will stone you to death. Threatening the Prophet of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, who's there only for the pleasure of Allah, we will stone you to death. And you will receive from us a painful punishment. So Prophet of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, with hikmat, with wisdom, with diplomacy, they responded and they said, طَائِرُكُمْ مَعَكُمْ. Your bad omen, that is with you. The consequence of the bad omen is your own acts. If there is drought, it is because of you. If there is disunity, it is because of you. You have moved away from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, so you are suffering the consequences because of your own bad deed. أَإِن ذُكِّرْتُمْ. Are you taking a bad omen on us? If you have been given good advice from us, we have given you good advice. So that is supposed to be something that you look forward to, and you're supposed to regard that to be fortunate. بَلْ أَنْتُمْ قَوْمٌ مُسْرِفُونَ. In fact, you are a nation that is trespassing the boundaries of justice, equality and logic. وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى. And then from the distant part of the town, one person came running. In this verse, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala refers to Habib the carpenter, who had brought faith and iman on Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala with the efforts, with the da'wah of these two prophets of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. When he noticed that these prophets of Allah are being oppressed and persecuted, and the people are rebelling against them, he went up to them and he told to them, Ya qawmi, ittabi'ul mursaleen, ittabi'u man la yas'alukum ajran wa hum muhtadun. O my nation, he addresses them on common grounds. I am from you, you are from me. We are from the same nation, we are from the same philosophy, we are from the same mentality. You know me and I know you. And my advice to you is, follow these prophets of Allah. Follow these people that are sent to you. And look at the sincerity of these people. They're not coming to you asking you for money. They're not coming to you asking you for land. They're not coming to you and asking you to assist them for anything. They have no agenda. Their purpose is Man la yas'alukum ajra. Follow that person who is not asking you for any remuneration. They don't want anything from you. All they want is for you to be on the straight path. Move away from worshipping idols and be on the path of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Believe in the oneness of Allah, believe in the yaqeen of Allah, believe that Allah is the one to do everything. وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. And these prophets of Allah, they are guided from divine guidance and assistance from the side of Allah. Habib the carpenter, again, with lots of wisdom, he addresses the nation and he tells to them, وَمَا لِيَدَا أَعْبُدُ الَّذِي فَطَرَنِي وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. He's actually addressing his people, but instead of telling them and directing to them and telling to them why you people are not worshipping Allah, he attributes it to himself and he says that, what excuse do I have? What excuse do I have that I do not worship that being that has created me? Whereas it is to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala is your people's return. He explained the reason why we should worship Allah. Allah has granted existence from non-existence. We were nothing. We owe our very existence to Allah. When Allah created us, Allah created our hearts, Allah created our brains, Allah created our hands and legs and everything. Why don't we give back all that back to Almighty Allah? Why to someone else? أَأَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً إِن يُرِدْنِ الرَّحْمَنُ بِضُرٍّ لَا تُغْنِ عَنِّي شَفَاعَتُهُمْ شَيْئًا وَلَا يُنْقِذُونَ. Should I take another Lord besides Allah? Should I worship somebody else besides Allah? What if Rahman intends harm to me? That means if Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala wishes to punish me, then the intercession of all these idols will not make us independent from the punishment of Allah. And nobody will be able to save me from the punishment of Almighty Allah. Inni idhal lafi dhalalin mubin. If I have to worship Allah, worship anyone else besides Allah, then I would be in open deviation. And then he addresses the nation and he tells to them, Inni amantu bi rabbikum fasma'un. O my nation, listen to me. I have brought Iman on your Rabb. I have submitted already. I have abandoned the worship of idols. I have abandoned the worship of everything else. I have completely, holistically turned towards Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. The moment he did that, and he expressed to his people, according to the narrations we understand, they started hitting him, severely beating him, oppressing him, persecuting him, to the point that they actually killed him. The moment he passed away, whilst in the path of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, making da'wah for the pleasure of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, obviously he's a human being. He must have had other responsibilities of life. He may have been a husband, he may be a father, but in the path of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, his sacrifices, he's been killed. His children probably became orphans. His wife probably became a widow. He has severed everything for the pleasure of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. Allah appreciated the qurbani's effort and the sacrifice of Habib the carpenter, and the moment he was killed, Allah sent the angels to give him glad tidings, Udkhulil Jannah. You made an effort, qurbani, for my sake. You assisted the Prophet of Allah. You honored them. So now you go into my Jannat and my paradise. Now, whilst he was given this basharat and this glad tidings, he's so dedicated to his work and wanting the people to move away from the path of deviation to the path of straightness and Surat al-Mustaqim. Even then, his response was, Ya layta qawmi ya'lamun. He passed away. He's going to Jannat already. But still too, his concern is his nation. And he tells that how I wish my nation comes to know how Allah dealt with me. بِمَا غَفَرَ لِي رَبِّي وَجَعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُكْرَمِينَ. Because of what I have done, my effort and sacrifice, Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has forgiven me, and Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala made me from among the honorable people. My dear brothers and respected elders, in this entire incident of the three prophets of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, Habib the carpenter, and the joint effort in inviting the people toward the wonders of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, we understand certain adabs and certain etiquettes of da'wat and tabligh. The person that goes out in the path of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala and invite the people towards wonders of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, he should have certain qualities in him which will make his da'wah and tabligh more efficient and more proficient. First and foremost, the person that is engaged in da'wah and tabligh, he should inculcate within himself a high quality of akhlaq, character and conduct. What's the point of inviting somebody towards the right when the person that you are inviting will actually accuse you of bad akhlaq and bad conduct? People will accuse you in any way. But to the best of our ability, the da'i, his akhlaq should be of a high caliber. Hazrat Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's akhlaq, and what was that warned the people of Madinah Munawwara? She says, Futihatil Madinatu bil akhlaq. Madinah Munawwara, the people living in Madinah Munawwara and the people living in the vicinity of Madinah Munawwara, they were conquered not with anything but with the great sublime akhlaq and character of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In the books of hadith, an incident is mentioned about one sahabi in the prime stage of Islam. It was permissible to talk in salah. Gradually the salah came to a form that we are now performing salah. But initially in salah it was permissible to talk, it was even permissible to make salam. So this rule got changed and it got abrogated, and talking in salah became prohibited. So one sahabi, he says that he comes into salat late. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam already commenced his salat. So he came late and he heard somebody sneezing in salat. So in salat, he responded and he said to a person, Alhamdulillah. And the moment he did that, everybody started looking at him. He didn't know that now it is prohibited to make salam in salat, it is prohibited to talk in salat. So he, in all sincerity, responded to the sneeze. So everybody started looking at him with big eyes. So in salat he started asking them, what you people are looking at me? So he says, the moment he asked them in salat, they started hitting their thighs, indicating to keep quiet. He said, I was so angry, but I just contained myself. After salat, Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam called me with so much of love, with so much of compassion, and with so much of wisdom and diplomacy. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam called me and he told to me that, see, inna hadhi salah la yasluhu shay'an min kalamin nas. In salah, you're not supposed to be talking like how you talk with people. It is now prohibited. He said the way Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam won him over with so much of love and compassion, he explained some of the attributes of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ma gharabani wala kaharani wala shatamani. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't hit me. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu did not condemn me. Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not swear at me. And then he further says, مَا رَأَيْتُ مُعَلِّمًا مِثْلَهُ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم. I did not see a muallim, a teacher like that of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It was this wisdom, it was this diplomacy that actually softened the hearts of the people. Hazrat Maulana Ilyas Sahib rahmatullah alayhi was a person of great hikmah and wisdom, and the present form of Dawah and Tabligh was initiated by him. Dawah and Tabligh, that is a fundamental requirement of Deen and Islam, it's an important part of Deen and Islam. But the present form of Dawah and Tabligh has been initiated by Hazrat Maulana Ilyas Sahib rahmatullah alayhi. So you see, the beginning stages of Dawah and Tabligh, there was one young boy that used to come up to him, and he used to frequent the gathering of Maulana Ilyas Sahib rahmatullah alayhi. So after a few days, when Maulana noticed that there was familiarity between himself and the young boy, he did not have a beard. So after a few days, Maulana took the courage, and Maulana told to him that young boy, Maulana put his hand on his cheek and told him, why don't you start keeping a beard? The moment Maulana told him that, the second day after that, he stopped coming by Maulana. Maulana then mentioned one word which is mentioned in Urdu, हमने रोटी को ठंडे तलवे के ऊपर डाल दिया, which means the roti, normally when you make the roti, the talwa, wherever you cook it, it needs to be sufficiently hot for the roti to be cooked on it. I have given this advice to this boy before his time. So everything, it has a time. You have to look at the idea of you have to look at the mentality of the person and see when it is right for a person to say a person a particular thing. Hazrat Maulana Ashrafi Thanvi rahmatullah alayhi, he was once on Safar, and there were some professional people that were around him, especially one particular professional was around him. Maulana was traveling with all his friends and all his associates. Salat time came. Maulana went and made wuzu, performed his salah. It happened over 2-3 salats like that. So some of the friends and associates of Maulana told Maulana that, see, this professional person is with you, and he seems to take a liking to you, he's talking to you in the train, and salat time comes, you make wuzu, you perform salat, he's not performing salat. So why did you tell him? So Maulana said, if you are going to tell him, you are telling him, I'm not going to tell him. हर एक चीज के लिए मौका होता है, महल होता है. So Maulana didn't tell him, and this carried on, that every salat time came, without telling him anything, Maulana made his wudu, performed his salah. And after a few salats, he then was so deeply affected with Maulana's tolerance, with Maulana's diplomacy, that after a few salats, he started now making wudu and performing salah. So there is wisdom, there is diplomacy, how you do things. Two grandsons of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Hazrat Hassan and Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhu. They saw there was an old man, he was not making wuzu correctly. Now how to approach him? One way is to go and shout the person and tell him, you're so old you don't know how to make wuzu properly. But they first made mashwara among themselves that a certain person, old man, is not making wuzu properly, how do we correct him? So after they consulted, they went up to an old man and they told the old man, see, you're an old person, and you probably know how to make wuzu properly, you know how to perform a salat properly, so we want to make wuzu in front of you. In case we do something wrong, then maybe you'll be able to correct us. Now these two young boys, they started making wuzu in front of the old man. The old man realized that the wuzu that he's making is wrong, and he learned from these two young boys. This is hikmah, this is wisdom, and this is diplomacy, which is very, very important. And to a large extent, we seem to be failing in that. My dear brothers and respected elders, sometimes in the field of da'wah and tabligh, apart from the work of da'wah and tabligh, it's also important that two attributes we must inculcate in us. One is tahajjud and one is zikr. When you look at the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the very first thing that was given to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam while he was in Makkah Mukarramah was tahajjud salah. Ya ayyuhal muzammil qumil layla illa qalila. And tahajjud was compulsory upon Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Sahaba in the beginning of Islam before the 5 salat was made compulsory. And this was so that you can exert your own self. You inculcate your own self. You have spiritual strength. When you have the spiritual strength, then you'll be able to bear the difficulty and hardship in the field of da'wah and tabligh. And the second thing is also to make a lot of zikr. And inculcate the habit of zikr that will have a profound impact and put a lot of nur and barakat in the work of da'wah and tabligh. See, Allah Ta'ala tells to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and Harun alayhi salatu wasalam, Izhaba ila Fir'aun. Go to Fir'aun. Went to a tyrant ruler. But what Allah Ta'ala tells, Wala taniya fi zikri. That when you go to him, then don't forget making my zikr. It was the barakat of my zikr that the work of da'wah and tabligh will become easy. And from this we also understand two things. One is da'wah and tabligh, and one is tazkiyah. One shouldn't regard da'wah and tabligh to be something completely separate and independent of tazkiyah. And neither should anyone think that tazkiyah and suluk is something completely separate and independent of da'wah and tabligh. Both of them are complementary with each other. If the person wants to really benefit in da'wah and tabligh, he has to be also part of the tazkiyah. Cleanse himself, purify himself. Gain the ruhaniyat and spirituality and closeness with Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. And if a person wants to benefit in tazkiyah, at the same time, what's the point of cleansing your own self when you are not worried about cleansing the people around yourself? So you also have to take part in da'wah and tabligh. So it's incorrect for a person to have a dogmatic attitude and say, "Bas yahi kaam hai aur koi kaam nahi hai." It's incorrect to have the attitude, no, we only going to do da'wah and tabligh aur koi kaam nahi. Likewise, it's incorrect for people in the field of khanqa to say, "Yahi kaam hai aur koi kaam nahi." Like, dono kaam hai. Da'wah and tabligh bhi kaam hai, and also tazkiyah and tasawwuf ye also kaam hai. And when you look at the life of our Akabirin, Hazrat Maulana Ilyas Sahib Rahmatullah Alayhi, uncle of Hazrat Shaykh Zakaria Rahmatullah Alayhi, Hazrat Maulana Yahya Sahib Rahmatullah Alayhi, they all, you look at them, they were a combination of both. They did both of it. They did da'wah and tabligh, at the same time they took active part in the field of suluk and tasawwuf. It's very important for us not to have the dogmatic attitude and to complement each other. By having the dogmatic attitude, we think that we are promoting the work of da'wah and tabligh, or we are promoting the work of the suluk and tasawwuf. Actually we are causing harm and we are causing danger to it. We make dua, Allah Ta'ala grant us tawfiq. Subhanallah wa bihamdik. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.